I got to share with you this story about how AI was leading one of the double stackers astray and how it caused him not to be able to land any clients for like almost a month. And then we get on one Zoom call together and he closes his very next sales call. So I want to share that with you. I've also got the seller sizer out. I have a really funny analogy I want to share with you that I think you'll find really insightful as well. I'm Lee Blue. I'm the founder of DoubleStack, where I personally mentor some of today's top earning web designers. And the AI thing. So have you ever noticed that when you go into AI and you do some research about something that you don't really know anything about, then you're feeling, wow, this is really authoritative information. This is great. It's really pushing me in the right direction. Wow, I'm really learning something here. But then if you go on and you try to research something that you do know something about, don't you feel like it's like, that doesn't work. That's not right. That's outdated. Nobody does that anymore. And I think that's a really interesting insight because AI is basically just a word calculator that basically pushes you towards the mainstream. So if you're like looking for something where the mainstream is working, like for example, you want to find some good smoothie recipes or something like that, it'll probably give you some pretty decent results because you'll find recipes that a lot of people like. But if you're trying to do something where the mainstream approach is not working, like landing web design clients in today's new economy and everything, then it's going to lead you astray. And so here's what happened. So basically, this guy that I'm working with in DoubleStack, he was using AI, and AI said, well, just get somebody on a Zoom call and then ask them, what kind of words do you think people will search for to find your website? And then you type those words in, and then when their website doesn't show up, you can say, look, this is the problem. This is why people aren't finding you online. You're not showing up for the words that you want to be showing up for. Let me see if I can fix that for you. But that just doesn't work. It doesn't work for so many reasons. Let me give you a couple of reasons why I feel like that's a completely outdated approach. And I'm not going to say it doesn't work at all, but the conversion rate is so low that to me it doesn't feel like it works at all. And here's why. The first problem is when somebody comes to you and they're thinking they're going to buy like a website, and then you show them how searching doesn't bring their website up, then it's sort of a mismatch between they want a website, you're probably positioning SEO services. So right off the bat, it's a little bit of a mismatch. But that's not really even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is you're just revealing an issue that they don't feel any pain or urgency around. And it's tricky because it doesn't really seem like you're teaching someone a problem. It just seems like you're showing something that is already a problem. So like if you and I were looking at the guy's website, you and I would immediately realize that these are some issues. But when the client comes, they're probably not thinking about that. They're probably thinking about they're not getting the traffic they want, or that maybe they're getting traffic but it's unqualified leads, or maybe the leads aren't converting into sales, and like those are the problems. And so it's really important for the client to tell me what the problem is rather than me reveal issues to them. And because if I'm trying to reveal stuff to them and they're coming to me, but I'm trying to change their mind in some way, that's really, really, really hard, which is where the seller sizer comes in. So imagine this, and like one of the things I think is really helpful for things that are new or that I'm trying to learn is I try to imagine the same scenario but in a different context. So that's where the seller sizer is. So I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos. I really like this thing. So this is a little mini trampoline. Like normally you jump on it for exercise. And I've been using this thing for, I don't know, like 20 years. My Uncle Whit, who is a physics professor in Ohio, turned me onto these things. And NASA has called the seller sizer, or like rebounding in general, I think the seller sizer is just a brand of rebounder. But rebounding in general, it's like a biohack for your health. It's the most effective exercise ever devised by man. Because of the springs and everything, you can get like this great cardio workout without all the jarring impact on your knees and your hips and your joints. You get like cardiovascular fitness. You can do muscle building. It cycles your lymphatic system. It helps with fatigue. It boosts your mood. It can even improve things like your vision. I mean, there's so many benefits to a seller sizer that it's crazy. Like I legitimately think that everyone should have one. I think it's a biohack for your health. You can actually burn more calories and get fit faster than running on a treadmill or walking, or it's like the best form of exercise out there. So if you're really looking to improve your health, I strongly think everyone should get a seller sizer. So that's how I feel about it. So I'm almost like a seller sizer evangelist or whatever. So imagine this. Imagine me working in like a sporting goods store, and then somebody comes in and they're like, hey Lee, can you point me to a good treadmill? I'm looking for a treadmill. What do you think is the best? And then I try to then bend that around. But, oh, well, you don't want a treadmill. You actually want a seller sizer. And I try to change the person's mind. That is so hard. That is so much harder than if somebody comes in and says, hey, Lee, I'm looking for a treadmill. And I just say, well, there it is. Let me sell you that one. It's so much easier to point people to the thing that they're actually looking for than it is to try to change people's minds. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with web design today. So I'm not worried about trying to get my agency to show up for local searches you can't even run ads anymore for web design. But even if you could, the leads that you get are bad. Like my worst clients are the ones that just sort of like Google up my agency or something, or like do a search for like WordPress plugin developer or something like that. Because it's all this like low budget, one-time payment, no relationship, no partnership. Because if I try to bend that kind of person, say, hey, I'm looking for a website, and I try to change their mind and think, well, you need a lot more than just a website. You need this whole marketing plan. That's like trying to take the treadmill guy and convince him to buy a seller sizer. Does that make sense? If so, like or subscribe if you haven't already. It would be so much easier if somebody would just, back to the sports analogy, if somebody came into the sporting goods store and said, hey, Lee, I've been gaining some weight. I feel tired all the time. I just don't feel as good as I used to. And I don't have a lot of time because I'm so busy with work. So I'm looking for some home gym equipment, but I'm really lost. I don't really know what to do. What can you recommend? And they say, well, have you heard about a seller sizer? Let me tell you about this. Like, do you see how much easier it is to push the seller sizer towards someone who's coming to you telling, hey, I've got these like health problems I'm trying to resolve. What do you think would be the best? As opposed to trying to change somebody's mind who's already looking for a treadmill to get a seller sizer. It's just so much easier. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find business owners who are coming to me with like business health problems. Instead of saying, hey, I'm looking for a website or I'm looking for SEO, it's like, I want them to say, well, we're not really getting the traffic that we need, or man, we've been spending all this money on Facebook ads and feels like I'm just throwing money away because we pay for all these clicks, but we don't get any conversions. And then I'm going to try to solve that problem with a larger, like a comprehensive marketing solution that actually gets people results. I can't underscore that enough. It's like, if I can find people that have problems, I can solve them with a solution. Whereas if I'm getting clients that are looking for individual services, it's very hard to like solve that other than just give them what they ask for, and it's low ticket, low value. So then the question is, well, what do you do? Like, how do you get in front of clients that have like business health problems instead of just people looking for websites? Because you would think that, you and me being web designers, it would be really easy to try to attract people who are looking for websites. But if you're not doing that, then what are you supposed to do instead? It seems like that's a problem. But it is. It's definitely a problem. And that's why I think AI is leading everyone astray with regard to how to actually get web design clients today. And I think the trick is you need to become locally famous in some way. I think that's the ultimate trick. And it does involve like meeting people and connecting with people. And the reason that I say that is I know it's uncomfortable and like wouldn't it be great if you could just stay home and like somehow message people on Facebook and then they suddenly hire you to build websites and stuff. And you can, like, I imagine that there are some people that do get leads that way, but the conversion rate is so low, and the amount of time it takes to build trust with people like that takes forever. So if you could just go out and meet someone in person, in like a 2-minute conversation, you can build more trust and more authority than like months of online only outreach. And so I feel like that's why it's really important to try to become locally connected, locally famous with regard to the types of business owners that you want to connect with. So then you think, well, how do I get connected with business owners and establish that local fame? And that's a really kind of complicated issue. So what I did was I created an entire video about our local spotlights lead generation system. I'm going to put a link up in the corner with that. But I feel like that is ultimately the answer. And I'll give you a quick summary. The summary is, you have stuff that's of value to local businesses who want more visibility, who want more trust, who want more social proof. And then you offer a little bit of, like, you offer like the first step for free as a small favor. And then you just give away all of these quick small favors. But the key to the small favors is it literally has to be small, but it also has to be powerful. It has to be small so it doesn't take a lot of time for you to give. But it has to be powerful so that people actually want it and use it. And I think that's another one of the problems where AI is leading people astray. They're saying stuff like, do a Google business profile optimization, or build them a free website and show them the site, and if they want it, they can keep it. And like, I mean, all of these things that it's so time consuming and it's just so hard to do that. And so I want you to check out this Local Legends training session so you can see what we're doing, because I feel like it's one of the only ways that actually works right now to get legitimate web design clients. Because you don't have to plead for the work. You just lead and the money follows. And I think it's sort of a paradigm shift. But then there's one last thing I wanted to share with you, which is, even if you are connecting with local businesses, how do you pick the clients that you want to actually work with? Because not all clients are created equal with regard to the type of work that you and I are going to want to do. Like, there's some clients where it's super easy to find cool pictures to share and stuff to say on Facebook, and you get great reviews and stuff like that. And then there's other clients that just make it really hard. So my encouragement is pick easy clients. So check out this video right here. I'll show you how to pick the easy clients. And before you leave, also check out the Local Legends training. I think you'll find it to be really mind-opening. So either way, I'll see you in just a minute.